Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Clare, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So welcome to today's Calmcast, rediscovering your drive. And really exploring the power that understanding the three principles, not necessarily the three principles in themselves, but the understanding of them can have in terms of rediscovering our drive. And I have to say that a lot of the people who I work with feel like they've lost that in some way, shape or form, that they're just not moving forward at perhaps the pace that they either were previously or they think they should be. They may have never worked at that pace, or moved forward in life at that pace, but there's some idealistic concept of how fast we should be moving through life, isn't there, for a lot of people? And I think that's maybe the first thing to point to is that if you think you're not driven enough in some way, shape or form, what does that really mean? And can you explore or get curious about the idea you've created about that may not be true, is what I was about to say, but it absolutely fundamentally isn't true. That there is no truth in the idea that we should be moving through life at a particular pace. We've all got our own unique pace of moving through life, haven't we? And that's perfect for us. And yet we spend a lot of time judging ourselves as not moving fast enough, not going fast enough, not being somewhere we think we should be. That's a good word to watch out for always, isn't it? If you're shouldifying yourself, which I've spoken about before, then that's something that is absolutely to be watched out for, because if the word should's there, then you are creating some illusion and trying to squeeze yourself into that isn't true. But perhaps now, it's useful to explore what drive really is and where it might be, where we might find it, because we're talking about rediscovering our drive. And that's a good word, really, because we absolutely have had 100% of the drive that we were supposed to have at some point in our life, and that was probably earlier in our lives rather than later. So when we think about drive being the desire to and the fulfillment of doing things, getting things done, again, like I point to often, we only have to look at a small child to see that drive in action. A few weeks ago was at an event where the lady who was setting up the event, her little girl was with us, and it was just amazing to watch her. She didn't have to go and find her drive. Trust me, she was attracted to things that weren't hers, and she was going to try and pick them up, and then she was off doing something else, and then the next minute I looked and she was outside on a little plastic rocking horse, and the next minute she was doing something else, and at some point she got pen and paper and she was creating something, and she just was this little doing creature. She was just this aliveness and the drive. There was no there's no looking for the drive to do things, which is what it seems we need to do before we can actually move forward in life. Is we've got to soup ourselves up to the point where we feel driven enough to kind of get things done. And I personally, of course, if you've listened to me before, you'll know that I spent a long time trying to find, trying to find my drive, feeling like it had somehow been taken away from me or didn't exist anymore or was somehow damaged or missing. And that involved an awful lot of work. And ironically, now I see it the way I see it, it was always there. The drive to do things is a natural human thing, that without it, we would have starved and died and been eaten by our predators, really, if we hadn't have had it in the past. But I think a lot of the time we're now, our attention around drive is, perhaps to create something in a business, or in our personal lives. It's the drive to create more money, perhaps more clients, to develop our business. And we feel like it's somehow missing. And how I often see this playing out for people is that there's all these ideas. Like there's never, for a lot of people, there's no shortage of ideas. There's no shortage of inspiration. There's no shortage of a voice from intuition saying, this is the next, this is the next step. This is what to do next, etc. But then there's something in the way, isn't there? It feels like there's something in the way. And that something that's in the way is the same something that's always in the way. There only ever is one thing in the way. And that's our thinking, how we're relating to that idea. So we will often have a really good idea, and we will feel inspired by that in the first moment. It'll feel exciting. We'll feel, this buzz of energy coming through us. Yes, this is exciting, or it's something new, and that could really solve this problem, or this could be the next step forward for my business, or whatever. And then and it comes with its own, those ideas from our wisdom, they come with their own inbuilt drive, don't they? They come with this energy. We can feel that in us. It feels good. It feels like something to follow. And then we grind to a halt. And the stopping and the falling away of the drive, or the covering over, really, of the drive is really the thinking we have about that new idea. So, or about anything that we think would be helpful to do. And perhaps you are aware of some of those thoughts. Things like, it won't work. So, thoughts about the future, it won't work, it's going to be too hard. I'm not enough to do this. I'm not capable of it. It's not something that I can do. I'm not clever enough. I'm too old. I'm too young. It's scary. Mostly it's scary. That's most of it, isn't it? That it's scary. That we think there's some danger there. And it's like that thinking comes with a heaviness. Because I don't know about you, but that feeling of, when the drive falls away, or when it gets hidden, it gets buried over by our busy mind, it does feel like somebody has sat on your chest, doesn't it? Like you're being pinned down almost. And you just kind of, I can't do this. And then we might go back to doing nothing, or just doing some mindless task that we can kind of cope with in that moment. But all we need to do, really, and the encouragement always in this conversation, is to start to bring some awareness to that. Just to notice. I have these great ideas, and then there's this heaviness that comes. And the fundamental realization is that the heaviness is not about the thing. It's not got nothing to do with the thing. There's nothing to do with the thing at all. It's to do with our thinking about the thing. So we have this amazing idea, we have all this heavy thinking about it. Suddenly the drive just isn't visible anymore because we're living in this noisy psychological space in our heads. And then the urge to do that thing has fallen away. So it's, and then we tend to freeze. And I find myself talking a lot to people who have frozen. Fight, flight, or freeze. Because fear is involved, isn't it, in this? And really all we need to do is notice, to watch out for that amber warning as our thinking starts to go into the story about how we can't do this thing and how, it's going to be too hard or whatever else about the future. Or something from the past. We did something like this before and it was an epic failure and we looked stupid or whatever. So just awareness, just noticing, knowing all the time that these concepts like drive that look like we have to go to the outside world to create and have more of, like I did for many, many years, doing all the tools and techniques and strategies to try and make myself feel more driven, knowing that is inside you all the time, and that if you're not experiencing it, it's just some psychology temporarily getting in the way. That's all. So I hope you have a super productive day. Remember that if you join me on Insight Timer now, follow me and explore what's on my profile, you'll find there's 3 lovely courses now exploring the 3 principles. And a 4th one is just hatching in my mind right now. So do explore those courses. There is one specifically focused around productivity. It's called From Stress to Success. It really is about productivity from 3 principles perspective. So productivity is something you're struggling with, then please do go explore those courses on Insight Timer and all my other content. There's lots of other content just like this and lives every week. So by following me, you get to hear more about those. So I hope to see you on one of those soon. Really hope you're finding this helpful. So take care and lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Clare Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.